say, kids, what time is it?
Hey, it's Edson from GeekTime TV, and I just watched WandaVision Episode 3. In full color now, we see the popular hairstyles and the clothing of the 70s. And in the new theme, we have this 3x3 grid, which reminds us of the Brady Bunch, except for instead of squares, we have hexagons. Now, we've seen hexagons before in episodes 1 and 2. In that final shot just before the credit rolls, we see the hexagon around Wanda and Vision. And hexagons can be a reference to Wanda's powers. Her offensive spells are often referred to as hexes. We also see that term being used a lot in the Harry Potter books. But it's also a symbol for the criminal organization known as AIM, which stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics. In the comics, AIM was created by Strucker as the research division of Hydra. Their agents wear these suits that are very similar to beekeeper outfits, which brings you back to that incident in episode 2, where you have that person climb out of the manhole in something that looks like a beekeeper outfit. But if you look closely, there's also a sword logo on that person, which makes you wonder how these two organizations are related in this show. AIM also has been mentioned in the MCU before in Iron Man 3 as the organization led by Aldrich Killian, the main antagonist. But enough about the hexagons. Let's get on to episode 3. So at the end of episode 2, we see Wanda suddenly become visibly pregnant, and here's her doctor making a house call. He's examining her, and he's letting them know that everything's going well, and he's completely unfazed by the fact that she's already 4 months along, even though this is his first time examining her. So Vision walks him out, and he sees his next door neighbor Herb, who's trimming the hedges, but then he proceeds to start cutting into the concrete wall which divides their property. He seems to think that this is okay, and then Vision points out what he's doing, but he just smiles back at Vision and continues to cut through the concrete wall like there's nothing wrong with this. Vision goes back inside confused, but before he can talk to Wanda about it, he sees that her stomach is a little bit bigger now, and all of a sudden she's 6 months pregnant. And then along with that comes the baby's first kick. For some reason, both Vision and Wanda are convinced that it's a boy, and they all already have picked out names. Vision likes Billy, while Wanda prefers Tommy. And then they have this back and forth about which name is better. Vision wants to name him Billy because it's name him after William Shakespeare, and he even quotes a William Shakespeare line, quote, "All the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players," unquote. Vision seems to unknowingly be telling us that whatever's going on here isn't quite real. So Wanda then goes into false labor, losing control of her powers. Appliances are turned on and off. There's chaos going on in the house, and eventually leads to a power outage. Vision runs out to see if it's affected the neighborhood, and then he comes in and he starts thinking about all the strange experiences that they've gone through, not just now, but over the first 2 episodes. And he starts reasoning out that there's something very wrong with this whole situation. Wanda gets very concerned, almost panicky. And the next thing you know, the scene shifts back to before Vision was thinking about all this, as if the whole thing never happened. And this time around, Vision never goes into that line of reasoning. He starts just going back to thinking about the baby coming and how to prepare for the baby. Then suddenly, Wanda's water breaks, and it's raining inside. Cut to this week's commercial. We have woman, she's running around her house trying to get control of the house because there's chaos all around. Her kids are running around, uh, causing all sorts of mischief. They're breaking things, dropping things, and then the dog is peeing inside, and she's trying to regain control of everything. Finally, she finds peace in a bubble bath, and product is called Hydra Soak. We've seen that name before, so yeah, it is another reference to the criminal organization known as Hydra. Back to the episode. Uh, Vision tries calling the doctor, but the phone lines are down, so he runs out to get the doctor because we know Wanda's about to deliver her baby. So Wanda's dealing with the labor pains when Geraldine shows up, and she scrambles to hide the pregnancy from her. She puts on a coat, which is quite conspicuous because it's 75 degrees out. And then she moves on to just grabbing a bowl of fruit and holding it in front of her stomach. This shouldn't fool anyone, but it is sitcom absurdity. So naturally, Geraldine is completely fooled by it. She sits down and starts telling Wanda a story about something that's happening at work. Meanwhile, a real life stork appears in the living room behind Geraldine, so she doesn't notice it. So while Wanda is listening to Geraldine's story, she's secretly trying to get rid of the stork with her powers and not having very much luck. Next thing you know, she has a very powerful contraction. And then it becomes quite obvious, even to Geraldine, that she's not only quite pregnant, but she's ready to deliver her baby. Geraldine jumps into action. She tries to make her as comfortable as possible. She encourages her through the delivery, and then we have a new baby boy. And congratulations, Wanda, it's a boy. Right after the delivery, Vision arrives with the doctor, and he seems he's a little disappointed that he wasn't here for the delivery, but they're both so touched by their beautiful baby boy. They have this really perfect moment as a family. The two of them just looking at each other and looking at the baby with love. And then this is interrupted by Wanda screaming in pain again. And there's something else going on, as Vision finds out very soon. Another boy is born, and it's twins. Congratulations again. This actually happened in the comic books. There's a comic series called Vision and the Scarlet Witch from 1985. The Wanda superhero name, the Scarlet Witch, is used in the comics a lot, although not in the MCU. In this series, Wanda and Vision are married, and they have, and Wanda does indeed have twin baby boys named Tommy and Billy. So the doctor pronounces the baby's healthy, and Vision walks him out. At this point, the episode takes a decidedly serious tone. First, Wanda is saddened because her twin babies remind her that she's also a twin. She tells Geraldine that she had a brother named Pietro, and Geraldine then says, he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? And indeed he was, back in Avengers Age of Ultron. But this immediately, Wanda turns from sadness to suspicion and anger towards Geraldine. She confronts her about what she just said about her brother. Then she notices that Geraldine's wearing a necklace with the sword logo on it, and that just makes everything worse. And Elizabeth Olsen makes this incredible transformation in her expression. She has this very real expression of deep rage that's about to explode. It's really terrifying. Outside, Vision sees neighbors Agnes and Herb, and they're huddled together, whispering to each other. He calls out to them, and they start talking to him about Geraldine, not in a gossipy way, more like a warning. They say that she has no family, she has no home, trying to tell him that she doesn't really belong here. And when he asks them to explain what they mean, Herb is on the verge of divulging a big secret. He says, she came here because we're all, but then he never finishes, and Agnes reprimands him to stop. Next thing you know, it's as if that conversation never happened. They're all smiles. They're all just acting like just typical friendly neighbors. And then they go about their business. And Vision is obviously very confused about the whole thing. He goes back inside and he asks Wanda, what happened to Geraldine? Where did she go? Wanda has her back to him, but we see her with a cold smile on her face as she tells him Geraldine had to rush home. And we shift to a nighttime scene, and we see that Geraldine really did have to rush because she comes flying through this shimmering wall surrounding the town of Westview, where Wanda and Vision live. Obviously, some kind of force field Wanda threw her out of the town, and she comes crashing into the ground, but seems to be okay, despite, other than maybe being shaken up. We also see a military type encampment, and then a squad of soldiers comes converging on Geraldine to see what happened. This must be the sword. It looks like they might be trying to figure out what's going on in there and how to stop it. But they're obviously outside and they haven't been able to get in, or now that Geraldine's back out. I also wanted to mention that last time I gave the acronym for SWORD. In the comics, it stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. But I did read, in the meantime, I can't remember the source, but I did read that for the purposes of the show, they changed the acronym to actually say Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Department. I couldn't find that in the show, but I did read about this, and it actually makes sense because the term sentient weapon can certainly be applied to a superpower being like Wanda and Vision. So that's it. Episode 3 ends just like that. I really enjoyed this episode. I love the Wanda and Vision's interactions as nervous parents to be, their support for one another. The episode did spend more time giving us clues to the mystery of what's going on here. You can see Wanda has some control over this reality around her, called Westview. I'm sorry. You can see she has some control over what's going on around here, but then she has these lapses where she doesn't seem to have control. So is someone else fighting for control of it? Maybe Hydra, I don't know. And then there's Sword, who's on the outside looking in. Are they trying to stop her? Or are they trying to help her? There's really so much more to be revealed about what's going on, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of this series. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really does help us grow the channel and create more and better content. And leave a comment on what you think of the show so far. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in Westview.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is it?